Two men, one game, one trophy. For over 2 decades, football has been divided by the greatest debate the sport has ever seen: Lionel Messi versus Cristiano Ronaldo. But forget the club goals, forget the Ballon d'Or trophies, forget the Champions League nights, because today we're asking the only question that truly matters. On the biggest stage of all, the FIFA World Cup, who really is the greatest? And right now, at the 2026 World Cup in the USA, Canada, and Mexico, that debate has never been more explosive. Since 2006, every single World Cup has been viewed through the lens of these two extraordinary men. Every goal, every miss, every triumph, and every heartbreak has added another chapter to the most compelling rivalry sport has ever produced. Ronaldo, the machine, the athlete, the man who bends football to his will through sheer determination and physical perfection, and Messi, the magician, the genius, the man who makes the impossible look effortless. Both have rewritten the record books at club level, but the World Cup? That's where legacies are truly cemented. That's where Pelé became a god, where Maradona became immortal. So where do Messi and Ronaldo stand in that conversation? Let's find out. And let's start with the man from Madeira, Cristiano Ronaldo, the boy from a small island who became one of the most recognizable humans on the planet. Ronaldo's World Cup journey began in 2006 in Germany. A young, electric 21-year-old, full of tricks and ambition. Portugal reached the semi-finals, their best finish in 40 years, and Ronaldo announced himself to the world. 4 goals, including a penalty in the third-place playoff. A stunning debut on the biggest stage. 2010 in South Africa, and expectations were sky-high, but Portugal were knocked out in the last 16 by eventual winners, Spain. Ronaldo managed just 1 goal. Disappointing for a player of his caliber, but Spain that year were arguably the greatest international side ever assembled. 2014 in Brazil, and it got worse. Portugal were eliminated in the group stage. Ronaldo, clearly carrying a knee injury throughout the tournament, could only manage 1 goal. It was a miserable campaign for both player and nation. 2018 in Russia, and Ronaldo delivered perhaps his greatest individual World Cup performance. In the opening group game against Spain, he scored a stunning hat trick, including a last-minute free kick to earn Portugal a draw in one of the greatest World Cup games ever played. He finished the tournament with 4 goals before Portugal were knocked out by Uruguay in the last 16. 2022 in Qatar, and the story took a dramatic twist. Ronaldo scored 1 goal but was dropped to the bench by manager Fernando Santos. Portugal were knocked out in the quarterfinals by Morocco in one of the tournament's biggest upsets. Ronaldo was seen in tears on the bench. It was a painful and controversial end to what many believed would be his final World Cup. But Ronaldo had other ideas. And now at the 2026 World Cup in North America, Cristiano Ronaldo, at 41 years old, is still making history. In Portugal's group stage match against Uzbekistan, he scored twice, becoming the first player in history to score at 6 different World Cup tournaments: 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, 2022, and 2026, a record that may never be broken. He also became the oldest player ever to score a multi-goal game at a World Cup, at 41 years old. Still doing it. Still making history. Total World Cup record so far, 9 goals across 6 tournaments. Extraordinary. But is it enough? Now for the other side of the argument. Lionel Messi, the boy from Rosario who became Argentina's greatest ever son, and perhaps the greatest footballer who has ever lived. 2006 in Germany, and Messi was just 18 years old. Bursting onto the scene as a substitute, he became the youngest Argentine ever to play at a World Cup. Flashes of brilliance but limited game time as Argentina were knocked out in the quarterfinals. 2010 in South Africa, and Messi carried the hopes of an entire nation on his shoulders. Argentina were brilliant in the group stage but were destroyed 4-0 by Germany in the quarterfinals. Messi failed to score in the knockout stages and faced fierce criticism back home. For the first time, questions were asked, could he do it for Argentina like he did for Barcelona? 2014 in Brazil, and this was Messi's tournament. He dragged Argentina almost single-handedly to the final, scoring 4 goals and providing crucial assists throughout. He won the Golden Ball as the tournament's best player, but in the final, Argentina lost to Germany in extra time. Messi stood on the podium, Golden Ball in hand, tears in his eyes. So close, and yet so far. 2018 in Russia and Argentina were a shambles. A disorganized, dysfunctional squad that somehow scraped through the group stage. Messi scored once, a stunning strike against Nigeria. But Argentina were knocked out by France in the last 16 in one of the most entertaining games of the tournament. Messi was criticized. Some called for him to retire from international football. The dream seemed over. And then came 2022, Qatar, the greatest World Cup story ever told. Messi, at 35 years old, in what everyone knew was his last chance, led Argentina on an unforgettable journey. From the shocking opening defeat to Saudi Arabia, to the dramatic knockout stage wins, to the semi-final demolition of Croatia, Messi was absolutely magnificent. And then the final, against France, arguably the greatest World Cup final in history. Messi scored twice in normal time. Argentina led 2-0, then Mbappe scored twice in 2 minutes to level it. Extra time, Messi scored again. Mbappe completed his hat trick, penalties, and finally, Messi lifted the World Cup trophy. The one thing that had eluded him his entire career. Complete. But the story doesn't end there. 2026, USA, Canada, and Mexico. Messi, at 39 years old, possibly playing in his final ever World Cup, has been absolutely unstoppable. In Argentina's opening game against Algeria, he scored a hat trick, his first ever at a World Cup. Then against Austria, he scored twice more. 5 goals in just 2 games. But more than the goals, it's what those goals mean. Messi has now scored 18 World Cup goals in total, breaking Miroslav Klose's all-time record to become the greatest World Cup scorer in the history of the men's game. He has also surpassed Brazilian legend Marta to become the leading scorer across both the men's and women's World Cups combined. The greatest player in the history of the greatest tournament on earth. The numbers don't lie. Total World Cup record, 18 goals and 8 assists in 28 appearances across 6 tournaments, and 1 World Cup winner's medal, and counting. So let's look at where we stand right now at the 2026 World Cup. World Cup goals, Messi 18, Ronaldo 9. A record-breaking advantage for Messi. World Cup assists, Messi 8, Ronaldo 4. Advantage Messi. World Cup appearances, Messi 28, Ronaldo 22. Messi leads. Tournaments reach the final, Messi 2, Ronaldo 0. Massive advantage Messi. World Cup winners medals, Messi 1, Ronaldo 0. The most important stat of all. But here's where it gets interesting. Both men have now scored at 6 World Cups, a feat no other player in history has ever achieved. Ronaldo got there first with his brace against Uzbekistan. Messi joined him, having already scored at 5. 2 men, one remarkable record, shared between the greatest rivals football has ever seen. But here's where Ronaldo's supporters fight back. Portugal is a nation of just 10 million people. Argentina has 45 million and a football-obsessed culture stretching back generations. Ronaldo has consistently dragged an average Portugal squad further than anyone had any right to expect. His hat trick against Spain in 2018 was one of the greatest individual performances in World Cup history. And that record of scoring at 6 consecutive World Cups may never be broken by anyone. The counter-argument, Messi has 18 World Cup goals to Ronaldo's 9. He has the trophy. He has the all-time scoring record. He has the assists record. And at 38 years old, showing no signs of stopping, he may add even more before this tournament is over. That 2022 final will be talked about for generations. And ultimately, the World Cup is the only trophy that defines football immortality. So who wins the World Cup debate? On pure statistics, on finals reached, on records broken, on the ultimate prize, Messi wins. There is no argument. He has the trophy. He has 18 World Cup goals to Ronaldo's 9. He has the assists. And right now, at 39 years old at the 2026 World Cup, he is still the most electrifying player on the planet. That image of him lifting the World Cup in Qatar will live forever, and the records he is breaking in North America right now will only add to that legacy. But sport is never just about statistics. Ronaldo's journey, the heartbreak, the determination, the refusal to give up, still scoring and breaking records at 41 years old, that tells its own extraordinary story. A story of a man who has given absolutely everything for his country across 6 World Cups spanning 20 years. That is not the story of a loser. That is the story of one of the greatest human beings sport has ever produced. Pelé won 3 World Cups. Maradona won 1 and created the greatest individual tournament performance ever seen in 1986. Now Messi has his 1 and is breaking every record imaginable at his 6th and final tournament. For millions of football fans around the world, that settles the debate once and for all. But we want to know what you think. Who wins the World Cup debate, Messi or Ronaldo? Let us know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the Sporting Vault, where sporting legends live. Thanks for watching. Next up on the Sporting Vault, the greatest World Cup finals ever played, and later this week, history of the World Cup. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video from the Sporting Vault. See you next time.